and welcome to Rebirth Summit 2026. I'm Philip Woolfolk, Managing Director of Main Street Advisory and Philip Speaks. Through Main Street Advisory, I facilitate funding for real estate investors and entrepreneurs. Through Philip Speaks, I'm an author, speaker, coach, and I provide engagements in the areas of financial literacy, home ownership, real estate investing, and self-empowerment, facilitating transformation from limiting beliefs to possibility thinking. Today, I have the pleasure of interviewing Mr. Robert Phillips. I'm going to share a little bit about his background and then we'll dive into it. So Robert Phillips is a leadership speaker, author, and founder of Phillips Performance Group. Known as the Reconnection Architect, Robert helps leaders transform disengaged teams into high-performing, purpose-driven cultures through the power of connection. With over a decade of experience spanning corporate leadership, frontline operations, and organizational development, he blends real-world insight with practical frameworks that drive measurable results. Robert holds a Bachelor's of Arts degree in organizational leadership and is the author of the Reconnection Architect, a 21-day journey to transformational leadership. His keynote, High Wire Leadership, The Power of Connection, equips leaders to build trust, strengthen engagement, and lead with clarity under pressure. Welcome to the show, brother.
Thank you, Philip. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
So tell us a little bit about what life was like before your own transformation. Describe the situation emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and kind of help us feel where you started, where you were.
Well, before the transformation, I was one of those people who believed, like most men, because, I was fortunate enough to have been raised by mom and dad in the same
Hmm.
household, which a lot
Right.
of my friends growing up in the inner city from the west side of Chicago, they didn't have that. So I was kind of
Right.
like the black sheep of my friends. But my dad taught me that provision equates to connection.
Hmm.
So I always thought because I was a breadwinner, I had a great job. I was a lineman for one of the largest telecommunications companies in the world. And so I
Okay.
was bringing home great money, taking care of a family of six. That's a wife and four kids. In fact,
Hmm.
my children were often made fun of by their cousins for being little rich kids. So I just really believed I was doing great. But
Right.
so I confused provision with connection.
Hmm.
But I had to go through something to find out that's not true.
Right.
Yeah, so that was my insight, that was my foresight. But now I got a different
Okay.
hindsight.
Absolutely. So what was your breaking point? What was the major moment or situation that forced change? What happened?
So so I was married to this woman for 20 years. And
Hmm.
while I'm married to this woman and raising these four children, I wonder if you remember what happened in March of 2020. I don't think anyone on planet Earth will forget what happened in March of 2020. But I tested positive for COVID. So in
Hmm.
March of 2020, I test positive for COVID. 30 days later, I've lost 80 pounds.
Wow.
So I'm terrified. I'm scared because if you remember, we're watching the news, and every time we
Hmm.
turn on the TV, this many thousands of people have died, or this many
Right.
tens of thousands have died. It got up to like 1 million people a day dying from
Hmm.
this disease. And so I'm terrified. So
Right.
I'm fighting for my life in that regard. But then on July 6th, 2020, while I'm still fighting for my life, my doorbell rang. Now I'm thinking, who in the world is at my door? Planet Earth is closed. Come on now, quit playing with me. So anyway, I got a mask. I have a mask in my hand. I put it on, walked to the door. It was a sheriff.
Hmm.
I'm confused. Why is there a sheriff at my door? my mortgage is paid. What is going on? Because in Chicago, I don't know about Detroit, LA, New York City, but in Chicago, when the sheriff come to your door unannounced, they coming for two
Right.
reasons. Either you getting evicted or you going to jail. So the sheriff gives me this manila envelope. I open it up. It's divorce papers.
Oh, wow.
So I'm instantly thrown into another battle. I'm
Hmm.
already fighting a battle for my life. Now I
Right.
got to fight a battle for my marriage.
Hmm.
So keep in mind, we married 20 years at this time.
You're right.
So going through that, I had to make a decision. And I don't want to talk too much because I know our time is limited. But that right
Hmm.
there, when I went through that, that
Right.
forced me to make a decision. I didn't want to lose my life or my marriage.
You're right.
And as you can see, I didn't lose my life.
Glad you're still here.
Yeah, appreciate it.
So what did your transformation feel like? Kind of walk us through the internal process, your fears, breakthroughs, healing, decisions, and what steps it took for you to move forward.
So while I was dealing with that, like I said earlier, the world was closed. We were on Zoom and
Mhm.
FaceTime, but whenever I jumped on those platforms, I never turned my camera on. So nobody
Mhm.
really knew how sick I was.
You're
Because
right.
a lot of my family members had got sick with the virus because of a funeral we went to before the mask mandate came out. But
Okay.
they all recovered in like 2 weeks. At
Yeah.
this time, I'm 3, 4 months in and I'm getting worse. I'm not recovering.
Mm.
So I would
Yeah.
leave my camera off. And what happened was my mom and my younger sisters came by to visit
Mhm.
and they
Mhm.
saw me. They
Yeah.
started crying. They made me cry because nobody
Mhm.
wants to see Robert die.
Right.
From that, somebody went and told my dad he's
Mhm.
worse than what we thought. So I get
Yeah.
a phone call from my dad.
Mhm.
I answered the phone, and his words to me was, "Son, where is your faith?"
You're right.
That's what jump started me to want to live again. So
Yeah.
from that conversation, I decided, and that's one of the answers to your question. What did my
Yeah.
journey look like? It started with a decision.
You're right.
I decided I'm going to fight.
Yeah.
I don't know how it's going to come out, but dad just put something in me. I
You're
am
right.
going to fight this tooth and nail. If I don't win, I'm going out swinging. I'm
Right.
going out swinging. So I fought. And so my journey consisted of me making, or not making, I kind of stumbled across this little framework. I call it
Mhm.
the 3 P's: pause, process,
Mhm.
pursue. I had
Okay.
to hit the brakes. I had to stop. I had to slow down. After I hit the brakes, that's the pause. Next, I had to process. I got to
Mhm.
really take a look at what I did to get me in this position.
Yeah.
What could I have done differently to give me a different outcome? And then pursue. I had to go after the right answers in the right direction. I went after it. So I
Right.
called it the 3 P's, but I've done it in keynotes where I changed it, a little play on words. I
Mhm.
changed it from the 3 P's to a 3 piece spicy.
Okay.
So people kind of like that. They kind of like that. But that was so I paused, I processed, and I pursued the right action and the right direction. And what ended up happening, slowly but surely, I started coming out. I started
Oh,
coming out.
okay. Yeah, awesome. So tell us a little bit about who or what supported your journey. Were there people, you certainly mentioned your dad would kind of kick started you to kind of move out of that being in this downward spiral with yourself. And was there faith? Were there tools, other practices? What carried you through?
Absolutely. So it began with faith, but I also believe that as human beings, we need 3 levels of what I call leadership. We need
Mhm.
somebody underneath us that's not quite where we are. We need a
Yeah.
peer, someone on our same level, and we need
Hmm.
somebody over us.
Yeah.
So for me, the way I was able to get through this, it started with my dad, and
Hmm.
certainly it wasn't just him. I also
Hmm.
had my leader.
Right.
And they inspired me and kept me going. And what's interesting, I thought about that as you just asked this question. They didn't call
Hmm.
every day, they didn't text every day. So it
Right.
took me 18 months to recover from COVID, by the way. I was what they call long-term COVID.
Long-term COVID. Yeah.
In 18 months, I maybe talked to my dad and my leader 3 times, maybe.
Hmm.
What
Hmm.
really kept me going was my peer. I
Yeah.
can shout out his name. His name is Tyrone Cotton. That
Hmm.
man right there called me when he found out every single day until
Yeah.
I went back to work. That man was on the phone and we didn't talk for 5 or 10 minutes. I'm talking
Hmm.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hours a day.
Hmm.
And what the reason he was able to do that, because he's been through what I was going through. He had to deal with a
Yeah.
severe case of stage 4 cancer.
Oh, okay.
And while he was fighting cancer, he's in a hospital. One of his lungs collapsed and they found
Hmm.
blood clots. He wasn't
Yeah.
supposed to live.
Right.
And he beat the odds. This was like 10 years ago. So
Hmm.
when he and I began to talk, I would ask him as I started getting better, why are you doing this? I mean, we're pretty cool, but we ain't friends like that.
You're right.
His words to me were this: I'm only doing for you what somebody did for me.
Absolutely.
So yeah,
That's powerful.
yeah.
Yeah. So where are you now in your journey? Tell us a little bit about how life has changed. What's different now?
I look for opportunities to connect every chance I get. They call me the Reconnection Architect. That
Right.
came from a company I worked at years ago. That's a whole
Mm.
nother story for a whole nother time.
You are actually a physical technician reconnecting lines.
That's exact that come on and help me out then, Philip. I love it. I'm the Reconnection Architect, but what I do, I like to call myself a wheelbarrow pusher. What does that
Okay.
mean, Robert? I'm so glad that you asked, Philip. Here's what I discovered. People are actually like wheelbarrows. They'll only go
Okay.
as far as you can push them. I
Okay.
was able to get out of what I was in because my it started with a push from my
Right.
dad.
Yeah.
So when I come across people, I meet new people, and I meet a lot of people all the time. I
Right.
look for opportunities where I can give them a push.
Okay.
So I go around from city to city, state to state, a Zoom meeting to Zoom meeting, and I look for opportunities to push people and see if there's any way that I can help to reconnect what may be disconnected. And so my message behind all of this, and I know we got to go. I know we got to go. My message behind all of this is this: whatever you are dealing with, you can bounce back.
Absolutely. Well, I didn't have to ask you my closing question. You turned out to be both an interviewer and an interviewee. So thank you so much. It's been a pleasure talking to you, Robert, and hearing your heart and hearing you share, your very powerful story. Your journey is absolutely a beacon of hope for others. This has been another incredible conversation on Rebirth TV International, listening to stories of unyielding courage. Um, it's been an honor to interview you today. And I'm going to say to the rest of the folks that are listening to stay tuned for more interviews from courageous speakers from all over the world. Until next time, this is Rebirth TV signing off.